You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Law enforcement teaming up to target some of the Bay Area's most violent criminals. We ride along with the U.S. Marshals as they hit the streets of Oakland.
There's a lot of people here that want police to do their job. They want crime to come down.
Plus, a land giveaway could force this Bay Area homeless encampment to clear out, while the road is being handed over to a pharmaceutical company.
People don't like looking at the trash and looking at the people and looking at us doing whatever we're doing over here.
And we will introduce you to the local tennis team that is overcoming disability to take over the court in wheelchairs. Thanks for joining us this Thursday. I'm Ann Makovic. Those stories and lots more right after our news headlines. San Francisco getting ready to host events to honor the Grateful Dead's 60th anniversary. That includes Dead & Company's 3-day concert at Golden Gate Park. Kicks off tomorrow. All roads on the western end of the park will be closed to cars through Sunday night. The city expects 60,000 Deadheads to attend. General admission tickets for all 3 days are sold out. Kamala Harris has announced she is not running to become California's next governor. She says she's reflecting on how she can be a resource for the Democratic Party after losing the presidential election in November. That decision leaves the door open for Harris to potentially run for president in 2028. She is leaving a crowded field of candidates to replace Governor Newsom, who is terming out. The brother of the late NFL player Pat Tillman now facing a federal charge of arson in San Jose. Prosecutors say 44-year-old Richard Tillman rammed his car into a post office on Crown Boulevard on July 20th. Then they say he set it on fire. The Justice Department wants him to get 5 to 20 years in prison for the crime. That suspect is the younger brother of Pat Tillman, the U.S. Army Ranger killed by friendly fire in Afghanistan back in 2004. The White House working on last-minute trade deals before President Trump's midnight deadline for steeper tariffs. The president spoke with Mexico's president on the phone today and announced that he is extending that country's current tariff rate another 90 days while trade negotiations continue. The Trump administration has reached agreements with several countries, including South Korea yesterday. Procter & Gamble is among the companies that says it is raising its prices in response to the tariffs. All right, let's get a check on our first alert forecast, the final day of July, as meteorologist Jessica Birch shows us. It is heating up again, at least as we head into August.
We're starting to warm up as we head into the next couple of days. Today alone, we're seeing 90s return into the forecast in places like Antioch, with 80s anywhere from the Tri-Valley area all the way back up into Concord and Walnut Creek, too. Now it's a mixed bag of 70s and 80s throughout wine country today. Napa and all the way down into Vallejo holding on tight to 70s, with 60s over into San Francisco this afternoon. And the more south we go along 101 into Redwood City, all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley. We'll also notice that warm up as well. It's a beautiful day for us as we head outside today, and we're starting to see a little bit of a warming trend as we head into the first couple days of August. But let's do a quick recap of July, because in San Francisco, virtually every day was either at or below average when it came to our daytime highs, with the exception of the 10th, where we had a little bit of a heat wave sweep through. You head over into San Jose, 5 days were above average, the rest of them nice and cool, and this has been one of the coolest summers on record in most of the Bay Area. We're continuing to keep a close eye on that as we head into the next couple days, though, because the Climate Prediction Center is showing from August 6th to 10th, so in the next 6 to 10 days, we're gearing up for above normal temperatures here in the Bay. So what does that look like for us? Let's head over into the next 7 days, and you're already starting to notice it day by day. We're getting a little bit warmer into the upper 80s this weekend, low 90s as we head into early next week by Tuesday and Wednesday, with sunny skies widespread throughout our inland areas. We'll even see some sunnier skies along the coast as we head into mid next week too. For our friends along the Bay, closer to San Francisco and Oakland, we're holding on tight to 70s for now, continuing to warm up into mid 70s as we head into next Tuesday and Wednesday, with low relative humidity and sunny skies.
The number of violent crimes reported to Oakland police has been falling lately, and law enforcement is hoping to keep that trend up this summer. According to the police department's latest numbers, homicides have been falling since 2022. Similar trend when it comes to robberies and burglaries, both seeing a more than 30% drop over the last 3 years. But police are not doing it all alone. And Lauren Tom's got a rare chance to ride along with the U.S. Marshals as they team up with police to target dangerous offenders.
Yep, I'm tracking en route.
Senior Inspector Chris Tamayo is tracking some of the region's most wanted fugitives.
Again, we're trying to be high visibility. We're not trying to hide what we're doing. Get out there and participate and show that we're in the city.
He's been tracking fugitives with the U.S. Marshals Service for 12 years. Now, the Bay Area native is targeting fugitives right here in Oakland, protecting a place that, for him, has deep roots.
So there is a lot of significance for me to feel like I'm actually at home in my area, not just supporting my friends who are officers looking for people, but it's my community.
It's a partnership that spanned more than a decade. The U.S. Marshals and the Oakland Police working together to make the city safer. And now they've joined forces once again for the department's summer safety program, cracking down on violent offenders. And the summer timing is no coincidence.
Once the sun's out and it's nice and it's everyone's out on the streets, violence goes up.
The city's resources are already stretched thin. They remain down roughly 200 police officers. The task force brings in critical support and federal resources to help close cases and capture fugitives at no cost to the city. This year, so far, the Marshals Service Fugitive Task Force has made 273 arrests. About half, Chris says, happen right here in Oakland. And just between April to June, they made 70 arrests for homicide charges and another 79 for assault charges. But this week, they're taking aim at a different kind of fugitive, sex offenders. The team is executing warrants for rape, molestation, and failure to register, cases that are often hard to track but harder to forget.
He's got an assault charge, failure to appear, failure to register as a sex offender, and contempt of court. So those are the charges he currently has. Last seen wearing all gray and a Raiders hat. Oh, I see him with the bike.
The suspect was spotted on a bus riding down International Boulevard. The team moved in fast, making the arrest without incident before sending the bus back on its route.
When we take someone off the street, even if it's for a week before they get released, at least that person's out. They're out of the game for a little bit.
But lately, the team has faced an unexpected challenge, as neighbors often mistake the marshals for ICE, sending tensions high.
We're dealing with a lot of people thinking we're ICE, and so sometimes places have become unsafe to make the arrest because they start getting protesters coming in thinking we're ICE.
And while the U.S. Marshals can support federal immigration enforcement, this task force isn't here for that.
There's a lot of people here that want police to do their job. They want crime to come down.
Removing violent offenders from the streets in a city that's not just asking for peace, but counting on it.
In a statement, Oakland Police told us their partnership with the U.S. Marshals is essential to their efforts to protect and improve safety throughout the community. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, a small stretch of road being handed over to a major pharmaceutical company. So what does that mean for the homeless people that are now living on that street?
I think it's more so that we're isolated. Because people don't like looking at the trash and looking at the people and looking at us doing whatever we're doing over here.
Plus, Bay Area community facing a serious shortfall of school supplies. How something as simple as a backpack could make all the difference for its students.
You see these families struggled. You might think that a backpack drive is not a huge thing, but it is for these kids.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and PIX+.
We're noticing a little bit of a warm-up as we head into this weekend's forecast. Today we're in the mid-80s throughout our inland spots. Sunny skies are widespread from the North Bay down into the Santa Clara Valley. Off into the East Bay too, where places like Antioch will actually jump into the 90s today. And then as we head into this weekend's forecast and early next week, widespread throughout our inland areas, we will see 90s anywhere from wine country into the Santa Clara Valley too. Now we're going to notice that warm up for our friends along the bay, just not nearly as much. Low 70s quickly turning into mid 70s next week.
Well, people living at a large homeless encampment in Berkeley are worried that they're about to get kicked out. The city is giving away the land to one of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies. The encampment butts up against the sprawling campus of the Bayer Corporation, which has operated in Berkeley for half a century. Bayer already owns about 2 million square feet on Berkeley's west side. That includes part of Carlton Street. Now the city plans to hand over a nearly 400-foot stretch of Carlton between 7th Street and the existing Bayer campus. Our Katie Nielsen spoke with some people now living on that land, waiting to see what this means for their future.
This is the portion of Carlton Street the city of Berkeley is giving to Bayer Pharmaceuticals. It's about 28,000 square feet in all and home to a sizable encampment. Now, lots of questions remain about when this encampment will be cleared.
And I'm a treasure hunter, and I found some amazing things.
This is Cowboy, and this is his outdoor thrift store on Carlton Street, right up against the wall of Bayer Pharmaceuticals' Berkeley campus.
I just give things away to people that can't afford them, and the things that people that can't afford them, I charge them a real modest or even lower than modest price.
He's one of the unhoused residents living in the stretch of Carlton Street that the Berkeley City Council decided to give to Bayer, a portion of road that dead ends into Bayer's campus with Bayer-owned buildings on both sides. At a meeting last week when the transfer of the land was first discussed, a city staffer explained how the encampment will be handled.
We would, have staff go out and talk with people to the extent we had shelter. To the extent that we have shelter opportunity, we would offer that, and to the extent we don't, we don't.
The Bayer campus in Berkeley is 46 acres in all and is home to research labs as well as manufacturing facilities, mostly for specialty medications. The pharmaceutical giant sent a representative to last week's council meeting.
We have reported multiple fires at this location. I also need to make sure that there is a safe place for our people to work and that we can maintain the safety of the medicines that we produce for people.
I think it's more so that we're isolated. Because people don't like looking at the trash and looking at the people and looking at us doing whatever we're doing over here.
Jasmine says the clearing of the encampment only moves the problem elsewhere and doesn't do anything to actually address the homelessness crisis. While Cowboy says he'll be left to figure out what to do with his outdoor market.
I don't know. It came here little by little over a course of 7-8 months via bike. So where there's a will, there's a way.
We reached out to Bayer Pharmaceuticals with questions about this, and what they told us is that they are actually the ones that requested to take over ownership and maintenance of Carlton Street. They've done it on other streets that dead end into their campus and thought that would be the most efficient and safe way of dealing with this encampment. As far as timelines go, when this could be cleared, that we still don't know.
We also reached out to the Berkeley mayor's office and the city manager to get more details about how and when that encampment could be cleared and who would be responsible for it. Nobody's responded to our request for comment yet. Drivers caught by speed cameras in San Francisco are about to start getting tickets instead of just a warning. The SFMTA plans to begin issuing citations on Tuesday of next week. The cameras are already up and running at 33 intersections across the city, and warnings have been going out to speeders since early June. But next week, violators will be hit with fines. Those penalties start at $50, depending on how far over the speed limit a car was going. A new smoking ban in Oakland is getting mixed reviews from bar and restaurant owners. In January, the city passed an ordinance that banned smoking within 25 feet of a business and in outdoor bar areas. Some business owners told us that this law has helped to bring in non-smoking customers, but others say it feels like an extra burden for businesses that are still recovering from the pandemic.
There's nothing that can make up for that income. So, we've been here for 15 years, and I think this is a ridiculous piece of legislation that's forcing us to do something that we should honestly have a choice in.
If you had ever sit at a bar and you had, say, 20 people smoking cigarettes, and you say you didn't smoke, not to mention the workers, well, it was a horrible thing.
If customers are caught smoking, the bar owners could also pay the price. They could face fines between $200 and $1,000, depending on the number of offenses. Former Golden State Warrior Gilbert Arenas is in trouble with the law. Prosecutors say he was running a gambling ring out of his rented mansion down in Southern California. They also say he was collaborating with suspected organized crime figures from Israel. Now he's facing up to 15 years in prison if he is convicted. Arenas is a former 3-time All-Star player who spent 11 seasons in the NBA. He pleaded not guilty yesterday and was released on $50,000 bond. His trial is scheduled for September. At least 10 Caltrans employees have been fired after what was supposed to be a retirement party allegedly went too far. An anonymous source says it involved alcohol and a stripper, while employees were still on the clock and being paid with taxpayer dollars. They also say some supervisors drove away in state-issued Caltrans vehicles while still under the influence. 2 other employees have been suspended. Caltrans confirms a retirement party was held on July 10th and that it has launched an investigation. Elon Musk says Tesla's ride-hailing system has launched here in the Bay Area, but according to Tesla's AI account, you have to be invited, and it only works in select parts of the Bay Area, including San Francisco, San Jose, and Berkeley. Musk says this system will work similar to Uber or Lyft, but you'll only ride in Tesla cars. The company says the service has also launched in Austin, Texas. Hundreds of homeless students in Silicon Valley might not have a backpack for the start of the school year. With just a couple of weeks to go, a donation drive is nearly 75% short of its goal. Our Kevin Coe has more on their call for help.
It's summer camp at the Haven Family House in Menlo Park. 23 families, including kids, facing homelessness live here, one of several family housing facilities run by Life Moves, which works to find families permanent housing.
To eventually be housed, I feel like that's what motivates me and makes me stay here.
Kayla Reyna started as a case manager and is now a children's services coordinator. She helps run the summer camp for some of Silicon Valley's most forgotten kids facing homelessness in the tech capital of the world.
They don't really get to experience that being a kid. A lot of them have to support their families with taking care of their siblings and just being there to support their parents.
To support the kids, Kayla and Life Moves hold an annual backpack drive, which also provides pencils, notebooks, and other school supplies to students in need.
Markers, crayons.
But the drive has been much slower than years past, falling 600 backpacks short of the goal.
The beginning of the school year, it's very exciting to go and buy your school supplies and go to the store, but many of our kids don't have that opportunity. But the moment they see that backpack with different supplies, you can see their eyes light up and just see like, that's my backpack. And I'm trying to get pushed. I don't even know why I'm crying, I'm so sorry. But just being part of this community where you see these families struggled, and the parents try their best to give their kids maybe a different life that they received growing up. And you see their motivation too. You might think that a backpack drive is not a huge thing, but it is for these kids.
Organizers say because these facilities house families and homeless people, you're asked to contact Life Moves before dropping anything off. The backpack drive ends on August 15th. Still ahead, not a story that we see often in California. Neighbors against expanding a local reservoir. Boy, they say the plan will leave their homes underwater.
My backyard's on their plan of inundation. With this new 4.5-foot rise of water would be in my backyard.
Yeah, come on in. Yeah.
We're gearing up for beautiful weather throughout the Bay Area today. 70s and 80s widespread throughout the North Bay and the Santa Clara Valley. We have 90s off into Antioch this afternoon. A very warm day there, sunny skies already, and we're continuing to see that sunshine into this afternoon too. Except for our friends along the coast, where it's still cool and cloudy today. Half Moon Bay today topping off at 61 degrees. So there's 30 degrees of a difference when it comes to those microclimates, anywhere from our inland spots all the way out to the coastline. Now, as we head into the afternoon hours today, for the last day of July, I want to show you what we're expecting and gearing up for, because those clouds pull back along the coast just around 1 o'clock this afternoon, kind of like a curtain pulling its way back, exposing us to plenty of sunshine from the Santa Clara Valley up into the North Bay. So no sky July comes to an end. Fogust fills the bay as we wake up tomorrow morning for August 1st, and we could see some little bit of drizzle in the forecast tomorrow morning too, off into the East Bay along the peninsula. That starts to taper off into the afternoon hours, just like today. Now at the same time, surface winds are going to get a little bit gustier this afternoon. Wind speeds up to around 30 miles per hour along the coast from San Francisco all the way up into Bodega Bay. Lighter conditions in our inland spots. I'll show you our averages for July coming up in just a bit.
Governor Newsom has declared a state of emergency in 7 Northern California counties. The goal is to help them recover from widespread damage caused by the atmospheric rivers this past winter. Sonoma and Napa counties are both on that list. This February, storms caused flooding, landslides, and road closures. Governor Newsom said the damage is beyond the scope of any single local government and that it will require regional aid and state resources. Neighbors in one Marin County community say they are worried about their neighborhood's flooding. We are talking about Nicasio. That's an unincorporated town about 7 miles west of Nevada. It also sits right below Nicasio Reservoir. The Marin Municipal Water District thinks it has a good idea to increase the reservoir's storage. But those living nearby told our John Ramos the plan could put them underwater.
Nicasio Reservoir is an important water supply for West Marin County, and the Water District is looking for ways to increase its capacity for times of drought in the future. But residents living near here say the district needs to pay more attention to what's going on in the present. Nicasio Reservoir looks nearly full now, but in 2021, this is what it looked like. The Marin Municipal Water District says it was within months of running dry, and they're not forgetting that just because we've had a few wet years.
That rainfall pattern is changing. The storms can be more intense, the storms can be more infrequent, and they're just becoming a little bit more unpredictable in nature.
So the district wants to raise the lake by adding an inflatable gate at the top of the existing dam. It would raise the water level by about 4.5 feet and add about 3,700 acre feet to the supply. But neighbors who live nearby and don't get any water from the reservoir say they will be the ones paying the price for it. And it centers around Nicasio Elementary School. This is what the creek looked like during a rainstorm last year, with a roaring river just across the fence and water backing up into the playground.
We're calling it ground zero because this is where you see impact, and as you go through the neighboring homes back towards the east side of Nicasio Creek, you'll see continued implications of the flooding.
Mike Siebold lives in one of those homes.
Well, currently of February 2025, we had a major flood of water that came through, flooded out 3/4 of my property. Washed away a whole bunch of trees, washed away more land into the creek. My backyard's on their plan of inundation. With this new 4.5-foot rise of water would be in my backyard.
On this day, he and other residents were at the library researching MMWD's history with the reservoir. It was constructed in 1961, and for the first 25 years, the district dredged the creek to remove sediment that was deposited when the flowing water hit the reservoir. But the residents say they stopped doing that in about 1987.
Now we're at a point that the creek bed is completely filled up with gravel, and when we get high rainfall events, there's nowhere for the water to go. It runs into the existing reservoir level and stops and spreads out and floods the school ground.
So the people living near the reservoir are staging a minor uprising, campaigning against the plan that they say could put their doorsteps on the edge of a lake.
I think they're listening, but the most important reaction is, we didn't know, which tells me that they really hadn't done as much of the homework ahead of announcing that they wanted to move forward with this project.
The neighbors say the district considered a nearly identical plan back in 1980, but it was abandoned because of the threat of flooding. They're wondering why it's being considered now, when the current flooding problems have only gotten worse.
The Water District did not respond to our request for comment. The project's public comment period is set to end next Tuesday, August 4th. Coming up in the next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, from TVs to tables, everything here is for free. Why this giveaway means so much to some Bay Area community groups.
I'm actually just the muscle around this place, so, it looks like we're getting some desk chairs, some TVs, coffee tables.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us this Thursday. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's another look at some of our news headlines. San Francisco getting ready to host some events to honor the Grateful Dead's 60th anniversary. That includes Dead & Company's 3-day concert at Golden Gate Park. That is kicking off tomorrow. All roads on the western end of the park will be closed to cars through Sunday night. The city expects 60,000 Deadheads to attend. General admission tickets for all 3 days are already sold out. Kamala Harris announcing she is not running to become California's next governor. She says she is reflecting on how she can be a resource for the Democratic Party after losing the presidential election in November. That decision leaves the door open for her to potentially run for president again in 2028. There's already a crowded field of candidates to replace Governor Newsom, who is terming out. And the brother of the late NFL player, Pat Tillman, now facing a federal charge of arson in San Jose. Prosecutors say 44-year-old Richard Tillman rammed his car into a post office on Crown Boulevard on July 20th. Then they say he set it on fire. Justice Department wants him to get 5 to 20 years in prison for that crime. The suspect is the younger brother of Pat Tillman, the U.S. Army Ranger killed by friendly fire in Afghanistan in 2004. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast now as things start to warm up a bit. Here is meteorologist Jessica Birch.
We're starting to warm up as we head into the next couple of days. Today alone, we're seeing 90s return into the forecast in places like Antioch, with 80s anywhere from the Tri-Valley area all the way back up into Concord and Walnut Creek too. Now it's a mixed bag of 70s and 80s throughout wine country today. Napa and all the way down into Vallejo holding on tight to 70s, with 60s over into San Francisco this afternoon. And the more south we go along 101 into Redwood City, all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley. We'll also notice that warm up as well. It's a beautiful day for us as we head outside today, and we're starting to see a little bit of a warming trend as we head into the first couple days of August. But let's do a quick recap of July, because in San Francisco, virtually every day was either at or below average when it came to our daytime highs, with the exception of the 10th, where we had a little bit of a heat wave sweep through. You head over into San Jose, 5 days were above average, the rest of them nice and cool, and this has been one of the coolest summers on record in most of the Bay Area. We're continuing to keep a close eye on that as we head into the next couple days, though, because the Climate Prediction Center is showing from August 6th to 10th, so in the next 6 to 10 days, we're gearing up for above normal temperatures here in the Bay. So what does that look like for us? Let's head over into the next 7 days, and you're already starting to notice it day by day. We're getting a little bit warmer into the upper 80s this weekend, low 90s as we head into early next week by Tuesday and Wednesday, with sunny skies widespread throughout our inland areas. We'll even see some sunnier skies along the coast as we head into mid next week too. For our friends along the Bay, closer to San Francisco and Oakland, we're holding on tight to 70s for now, continuing to warm up into mid 70s as we head into next Tuesday and Wednesday, with low relative humidity and sunny skies.
After months of waiting and speculation, former Vice President Kamala Harris announcing that she will not run to become California's next governor. That means the rest of the candidates can kick their campaigns into high gear. Reporter Steve Large is in Sacramento with what Harris left out of yesterday's announcement.
Well, no question, this has been a huge waiting game, putting the governor's race here on hold. Now Kamala Harris announcing she's bowing out of this race. It doesn't answer all the questions about her political future.
This country is ours.
Kamala Harris making her California decision. In a statement, reading in part, after deep reflection, I've decided I will not run for governor in this election. What are your first reactions to seeing that news?
Yeah, I'm disappointed.
Helen Smolinski is a California Democrat and Kamala Harris supporter.
I think we lose by her not running. But, I think we do have a deep bench.
At least 8 Democrats and 2 Republicans have declared their candidacy for the governor's race, which now kicks into high gear with Harris officially out.
Well, if you're a Democrat, don't look at your email, turn off your phone, because you're going to be inundated with requests for money and support from all the rest of the candidates that are running right now.
Democratic strategist Steve Maviglio expects gubernatorial campaign war chest to begin filling up fast, with the primary less than a year away. Harris had polled as the favorite in June had she entered the race.
You got to remember, it's going to be a $100 million plus race, and to raise that kind of money in the state is not easy.
Harris's statement included the line, "I look forward to getting back out and listening to the American people," helping Democrats across the nation who will fight fearlessly, and sharing more details in the months ahead about my own plans.
She's leaving the door open to a presidential race in 2028.
Now, the prospect of another presidential run includes her facing off against another possible California candidate, Gavin Newsom.
That is a big question. They've been frenemies since their days in San Francisco.
Mobilizing is as important as ever.
Kamala Harris finally making her move, setting the stage for the next election cycle. So this announcement ends the suspense over Harris and the race for the governor's office. The questions will now focus on her ambitions for the White House.
Meantime, Harris is set to appear on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert tonight. This is going to mark her first interview since the 2024 election. It was also announced today by Simon & Schuster that they will publish 107 Days. That is the book by Harris about her campaign for the presidency. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert airs at 11:30 p.m. on KPIX and streaming on Paramount+. As we get closer to next year's midterms, Republicans in Texas are officially moving forward with an effort to redraw the state's congressional districts. That move could allow them to win more seats in the House. 2 weeks ago, President Trump urged lawmakers to do just that, saying he believes that could flip as many as 5 seats next year. In response, Governor Newsom is calling on California to redraw its district maps, even though we aren't scheduled for our next redrawing until the year 2031. He spoke alongside Texas Democrats last week.
If we don't put a stake into the heart of this administration, there may not be an election in 2028.
Newsom has only mentioned seats for the House, but his push faces more obstacles and a tight deadline. In California, the state relies on a redistricting commission instead of lawmakers like in Texas. So that means if Newsom were to push for changes, it would require a special election to give that power to lawmakers, at least temporarily. Some assembly members, like San Jose Representative Alex Lee, have already expressed concern with the plan, saying it could set a dangerous precedent. Last year, the U.S. Supreme Court heard a case centering around the redrawing of political boundaries to favor a particular group. That's known as gerrymandering. The court's 6 conservative justices found that the practice is legal as long as it's done for partisan purposes and not to reduce the power of a racial or religious or other minority group. Microsoft has done something only one other company has ever done before. It has reached the $4 trillion club. The company's market capitalization puts it just behind the Bay Area's NVIDIA as the second most valuable company in America. Microsoft saw an 18% boost in revenue growth for the fourth quarter. Just like NVIDIA, Microsoft is heavily investing in AI, but the company's Azure cloud computing business that they say boosted their growth. A unique effort in San Mateo County to help nonprofits and the environment, Surplus Shopping Day, that allows community groups to take furniture from county offices like desks, lamps, and mattresses. One group tells Suji Nam why it means so much more than just free stuff.
I'm actually just the muscle around this place, so, it looks like we're getting some desk chairs, TVs, coffee tables.
Chris New is on a mission to bring some furniture back to East Palo Alto. Simple things like desks and TVs do go a long way.
Let's go.
At his nonprofit organization, Anamatangi Polynesian Voices.
The goal is just to help the youth, especially in our area and our Polynesian youth.
This is his first time picking up free furniture at the Surplus Shopping Day. The San Mateo County Sustainability Department held the event at a former hotel in South San Francisco. While the county is in the midst of transforming the building into permanent supportive housing, some items left behind are now also up for grabs.
Here we can see there's a lot of different lamps that have been in these hotel rooms, mirrors and art and other decor and things like that.
Gordon Tong, the county's waste reduction program manager, says most of these free items were once used in county offices.
That way we can both save money and we can help our community partners and we can reach our sustainability goals.
He adds that since the program began, they have rehoused more than 3,000 items to local nonprofits, schools, libraries, and other city governments.
Otherwise, we'd have to recycle or dispose of these items.
Yes.
And they're going in the hands, or arms rather, of community leaders like New.
It's definitely for a greater purpose. I mean, it could just be like somebody putting sodas or something in here, but I mean, it's better for somebody to get it than for it to go to waste.
He wants to do more to help his community get the resources they need.
We gotta help our community so we can all grow together, you know, support each other.
New is grateful for giveaways like these so he can give used furniture a second home to his second home.
Well, there are certain items available for anyone in the public to pick up. To request them, you can just go to the list online at govdeals.com/San Mateo County and then send an email with your request. Coming up next, we're going to introduce you to a tennis coach in the South Bay who's not letting a tragic accident keep him from the tennis court, how he's inspiring others to follow his lead.
I'd like to challenge myself athletically, so that's the fun part is the challenge of it.
We're noticing a little bit of a warm-up as we head into this weekend's forecast. Today we're in the mid-80s throughout our inland spots. Sunny skies are widespread from the North Bay down into the Santa Clara Valley, off into the East Bay too, where places like Antioch will actually jump into the 90s today. And then as we head into this weekend's forecast and early next week, widespread throughout our inland areas, we will see 90s anywhere from wine country into the Santa Clara Valley too. Now we're going to notice that warm up for our friends along the bay, just not nearly as much. Low 70s quickly turning into mid 70s next week.
Well, the Golden State Valkyries continuing their East Coast swing tonight when they take on the Washington Mystics. Our Matt Lively is in D.C. today, getting ready to cover all the action.
Welcome to Washington, D.C., practically coming to you from the White House lawn. The nation's capital, full of history over hundreds of years. And while the Valkyries might not have the length, they are chasing history themselves, trying to make the postseason in their first year in the WNBA. And they can help themselves out when they play the Washington Mystics on Thursday.
And as Matt just mentioned, you can watch the game tonight. KPIX and streaming on Paramount Plus. Our coverage starts at 4 p.m. July is Disability Pride Month, and today we're bringing you the story of resilience, passion, and the power of sports. A man in San Jose is changing the game literally through wheelchair tennis. Len Ramirez introduces us to the coach who's helping athletes redefine what's possible with their bodies.
On the courts of Independence High School in San Jose, the rhythm of the game is unmistakable. But look closer and you'll see a different kind of tennis match. Meet Dawn Bearden, one of the founding members of Bay Area wheelchair tennis and a coach with a story that took a turn at just 10 years old when a gymnastics accident left him paralyzed.
I'm pretty used to this life, so I really don't have anything to regret, at this point, because it happened, and I just gotta, live with it, So it's been a pretty decent life, I would say. Got him. Oh yeah.
Today, Don not only coaches wheelchair tennis, he plays at a high level, competing in tournaments around the world. His teammates, Dan Ignacio, who was born with spina bifida, and Anil Pakina, paralyzed after contracting polio.
I'd like to challenge myself athletically, so that's the fun part is the challenge of it.
Wheelchair tennis follows most of the same rules as traditional tennis, with one key difference. Players are allowed 2 bounces of the ball on their side of the court. It's a fast-paced game that requires skill, strength, and strategy. Don explains how staying strapped tightly into the chair helps him maneuver quickly and hit with power.
You want it to be very, back, strapped in very tightly. So any movement, chair comes with you. Yeah, so it's very important.
Students, high school students.
The Independence High School tennis coach even brings his players out to train with Don and his team, a collaboration that benefits everyone on the court. Kylie Hornbeck, a former intercollegiate tennis player and also the group's co-founder and coordinator, says it's a small group that wants to grow.
We strive to bring community for everyone. You know, people can learn from each other related to tennis and other things about just getting out and living their life after a disability.
As for Don Bearden, the game shows no sign of slowing down. And he's proving that passion moves you forward and showing that strength isn't always about standing. It's about rising in any way you can.
Well, if you or someone you know interested in joining up with Bay Area wheelchair tennis, they meet every Saturday at 10 a.m. at Independence High School in San Jose. Coming up, Sharon Chin introduces us to this week's Icon Award winner.
He's organized a unique benefit surf contest for older adults for the last 25 years, his impact on the coastal community, and why he's stepping down now.
There is a unique surf competition on the San Mateo County coast where you're considered a junior if you're just in your 40s. A Pacifica man is celebrating his 25th and final year running this annual contest. Our Sharon Chin introduces us to this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award winner.
Surf's Up.
This is the men's 40 to 49 shortboard.
Thanks to lifelong surfer Roy Ernest.
I love bringing people together and seeing that they're having a good time. It makes me very happy.
The 71-year-old Pacifica resident has organized an annual benefit surf contest for a quarter century.
It welcomes older surfers. You know, the minimum age is 40.
When Roy had entered surf competitions in the 1990s, the older divisions had unflattering labels like over the hill or worse. And that didn't sit well with the gerontologist and social worker.
I've worked in the field of aging for many, many years. You know, so I'm kind of sensitive to ageist stuff, you know.
So he took a friend's advice and launched the Kahuna Kapuna Benefit Surf Contest in 1999. The name means wise elder in Hawaiian culture.
We could create a surf contest that welcomed older people, that treated older surfers with respect.
Kahuna Kupuna turns the tide on what it means to be an older surfer. And that inspired 63-year-old Sylvia Teng, a first-time participant.
How excited are you? Very excited.
80 surfers competed in men's, women's, and intergenerational categories at Pacifica's Lindamar State Beach this summer, like surfer and sponsor Jeff Bjork of Ocean Culture.
I've been surfing ever since I was a little kid, and for me, it's a way to, you know, stay young, keep yourself young and be around amazing people.
Yeah, there is a whale right back there.
In fact, Roy has created a special bond in the coastal community. Surfer and sponsor Van Lee of Bomb Waves returns each year.
He just loves being a part of the community, and he wants to bring people together.
We got some serious interest.
A decades-old nonprofit also rides on the competition's success. Kahuna Kapuna is the main fundraiser for Pacifica's environmental family. And its president, Cindy Abbott, says the money helps support coastal protection and education.
It really is critical, and he does it with such beautiful spirit and camaraderie. You know, the Kahuna Kapuna is very low-key, but it's well-loved.
Hi, Chris. Yeah, hey, Roy.
But Roy has led his last Kahuna Kupuna. He hopes someone else will come on board who's just as stoked about surfing.
It's a wonderful thing, you know, and, you know, I just love it.
So for creating Kahuna Kupuna to honor older surfers and benefit Pacifica's environmental family, this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award goes to Roy Ernest.
Well, you can nominate a local hero for a CBS News Bay Area Icon Award on our website, kpix.com/icon. Well, thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.